All right, live.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to On the Verge, your conservative voice of Southern Oregon. And we certainly tonight have one of our very conservative members with us, and we're going to introduce him in here in just a minute. So welcome back, and thank you for following us. And again, like and follow us and stay with us. And we have a good show tonight. We're going to have a lot of interesting things to talk about, some local politics and some state politics with our guests tonight. But first, I want to talk about my sponsors, Becky Holm Insurance. She's one of our sponsors here. Andrea Williams, another longtime sponsor. A new sponsor to us tonight, Bill Hagedorn Construction, and we're going to hear a little bit about his construction business later. In case anybody wants to know, Bill Hagedorn is not related to Drew Hagedorn or anybody else in Salem. So the rumor has it that's been flying around. Bill doesn't even know who Drew is. Also, Senator David Brock Smith is one of our sponsors now, long-term sponsor. Twin Peaks Off-Road, my company, is also another sponsor. And of course, Little Mill Media, who puts this event on, or this podcast on for us. They're in the background. You can't see them, but they're looking back at us, and they got all this really cool lights and cameras and everything like that. And like I tell everybody, and I'll say it again, I'll say it every time we have a podcast. If you don't like what we have to say, we're a little too conservative for you, by all means, please turn us off. Do not watch us, and come down here and see Justin of Little Mill Media, and he will put together a podcast that you're happy with, and you can watch that. But otherwise, stay with us, and we'll talk about some cool stuff, and we'll probably I think we're pretty interesting. At least, I mean, we got faces for radio, but people seem to like us. So anyway, with that said, I want to introduce my guest tonight. We'll introduce him first, Representative Dwayne Yunker. Dwayne, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do.
Yeah, I am a House District 3, about 80% of Josephine County. I represent them. Alex Scarlos is between Representative Osborne and myself when it comes to the map. And I'm a realtor, but I feel like I am a full-time legislator when I'm supposed to be a part-time legislator. So that's me. I am America First, Oregon First, and I am a Republican, just like Virgil.
Amen to that. And one thing I really like about Representative Yunker, we've worked together now for a couple of years since he's been in the House, and he's a hard-hitting guy. I mean, he has his convictions, how he feels about stuff, and it doesn't matter. He's not afraid of it, you know. And I appreciate that. And sometimes, I'll be honest, I glean a little bit from that. I mean, I'm kind of the same way. I mean, I'm very conservative, and you know, you're not going to bother me or set me off by calling me a name or any of that kind of stuff. But I don't think I've ever seen Dwayne shaken off of his track ever, which I admire in you. So thanks for joining us tonight. Also, we have our co-host here, Trent. Trent, who are you?
I'm still Trent Drake. I'm the chair of the Douglas County Republican Central Committee and Virgil's campaign manager.
Cool. Well, thanks for being part of this and helping us put on. Before we get into some of the state politics, I want to talk just a little bit about some of the local politics, and well, not just politics, but some of the local events that's been going on. And Dwayne won't know about some of these, but some of you might. We just had the John Pearson Memorial Wreaths Across America event this last week. It was on
Saturday,
yeah.
That was amazing.
An amazing event, tribute to our military, not only our fallen, but our current veterans. And I was just lucky enough to get to participate with that. Our Commissioner Freeman was also doing some of the officiating. It was just an amazing event. And we placed wreaths, 7,000 wreaths, actually, in Roseburg, roughly 7,000, I think is the number of graves. And we visited the not only the graves, but the tomb sites and everything. And it was an amazing event. So if you haven't had a chance to do that event yet, and this is the second year running, there is also an option of buying a wreath and next year, you know, participating in it. So one thing that we will always do, not only on this show, but my office and myself, we have the utmost respect for the veterans of this country, and Dwayne, you being one of them. These guys gave their sacrifice and service for the benefit of all of us, and some of them gave their lives.
Yeah, I just love the story behind it. You know, it used to be like 700 wreaths, and then Chris Boyce had a friend who kind of took it over. Yeah. And then Chris stepped in, and it went from that to 7,000 wreaths in the last 2 years. Yeah. You can't even park there. You have to take a shuttle.
Take a bus. Yeah. Yeah. I was privileged. I got to park by the sheriff's cars.
Yeah. I walked and looked through the fence.
Did you guys do that? You probably did that down in your district, Dwayne.
Yeah, there was wreaths, but I actually went over to the Eagle Point Cemetery in Eagle Point and helped lay wreaths. My grandpa and grandma are buried there. My grandpa's a World War II veteran, and so they're buried there. And when my dad passed away, he'll be buried there, and maybe myself. So 3 generations of veterans. But yeah, I went and helped out in the cold and yuck and laid wreaths on the grave sites, and it was just an honor to do that.
Yeah, that's just really cool. A couple of other things are going on here, and I just actually listened to the story on the way in tonight, so I took a few notes. And this is a local issue up here for Douglas County, but I wanted to bring it up because I think it's really important. So our commissioners have kind of adapted a new mission on, and this is my take on it. I haven't talked to them specifically about it, but what they're trying to do, because of our timber industry being in the dumps and a lot of that having to do with the environmentalists and some of the things that have happened over the last several years, they've tried to make county departments self-sufficient, right? So they've tried to take departments in the county that used to be a drain on the general funds, and they've tried to make those into their own. They actually can raise enough funds to not only support their that part of the county, but also be able to be profitable enough to make it continue to grow.
Right.
And one of the things that I hear from our local liberals, and frankly, this is a conservative podcast, so I'll just call it like I see it. But they always bitch because they want the timber industry gone, and they'll make up all kinds of stories as to how, well, we don't really want the timber industry gone. Well, that's BS. They do, and they've done a fantastic job of getting rid of our timber industry. And what they want to do is they want to replace it with tourism, right? And tourism is supposed to bring in enough money to offset all of those jobs and all that loss, which we all know will never happen. But what's interesting is the commissioners have kind of put a mission out there with our parks department to go out and upgrade our parks, get rid of the ones that are basically useless, that aren't making any money or bringing in any tourists. I mean, if it's bringing in tourists, then obviously it makes sense to keep it. And by doing so, they've done some things. What's the park down by Seven Feathers? They just finished, or in the process of finishing that one. Singleton, I think it is.
Singleton, yep.
That park is looking amazing. And I mean, what better venue to spend money on than that? Because you've got the casino right next door who has their own park, and you have to make it nice enough that what people will that they can compete. Whistler's Bend, the commissioners authorized the folks to go in there and remodel that, and that park is booming right now, and so the county is able to be profitable. But the one I want to talk about tonight is Winchester Bay. So they just gave an award, and they didn't give it, to Jim Zimmer, who is the director of Salmon Harbor, for the Winchester Bay Resort, and it was named one of RF Life's best of the best campgrounds. That's the top 25% of the 20,000 campgrounds across America that are rated. Top 25%.
Yeah. I stay there. RV, Winchester RV. I love it there. It's clean. The people are great.
So it's amazing, and it checks the box, right? Yeah. It checks that box where the county's trying to come back, and they're trying to bring enough income into an agency or a part of the county that they don't end up taking it from general funds. Your tax money you have to be used for it. Now, because of Winchester Bay and the work that's been done over there, you don't have to pay to park at county parks anymore. And there was a few years there where I think we were paying $5 to use the park. That has replaced that. So and my hat's off to Chris Boyce, one of our commissioners, for the work that he's done, but they've all worked on this. And this checks the box of, they want tourism to come here, but yet they really ride the commissioners' butts about tax money spent on Winchester Bay or parks. Well, here's the facts. I have been involved in this for years, right? And this is how this works. The county applies for state grants, right? And it's usually an 80-20 grant. Parks grants are usually 80%, 20. County kicks in the 20. And then that money goes into whatever the improvements are. And there's been several $1 million of state money that some of it, I was on the committee that authorized it to be used for these parks. And by doing so, they've created a tourism draw. Now, the same environmentalists and the same liberals that don't like logging and they don't like timber also don't like ATVs, right? So they don't want anybody on the sand dunes in Winchester Bay. Well, here's a flash for you. Winchester Bay is probably it's one of the hottest spots for off-road use in the entire country. So the fact is that the county has found a way for the county to be profitable and bring money into general funds. If you don't want us to cut timber, you got to give us an out. That's really big news to me. But there's another part of this too. Also, Sierra Keith, who I just love, she's the director of the fairgrounds. She replaced, I think his name was Dan, and I can't ever remember his last name. But he went to Seven Feathers. She was also recognized. She just finished. She graduated from the Institute of Fair Management. She completed 36 classes, and the fairgrounds is now self-sustaining. So none of your tax dollars have to go into the fairgrounds to make it exist.
Right.
And the events that they do there make it so it's so. Another instance where tourism, and I get into all the events, but all the shows, the home show, the what's the other one? Sportsman show, the fair itself, all of those things put money back into the county to be able to exist and to be able to thrive. So when I hear people complaining about, the commissioners do this or they do that, and they're putting money, they are not stupid. They're putting money where money needs to be, and they're splitting these agencies off to where we can actually survive going into the future. Otherwise, if we don't get our timber industry back, which is likely not to happen, the county goes broke, right? So anyway, my hat's off to them, particularly Sierra Keith. I don't know if you're watching, but you've done an amazing job. And also Jim Zimmer, who I don't really know, but they've done an amazing job over there too. So anyway, I had to get that out of the way to start with. And then we'll go ahead and move on. I do want to tell everybody that you can ask questions. This is the time. And I know I see that my Facebook feed is blowing up. And you can also like and follow us. You'll be able to obviously watch this one tonight live, but you can also watch it later on YouTube. Yep. And for the next month or so, I think you can watch them on Facebook as well. Our numbers are still growing. The last time I looked, we were touching over 1.2 million in 90 days, which is pretty amazing. So we are getting our voice out there. And anyway, I appreciate all of the help, and I appreciate the fact that Representative Yunker is joining us tonight. And I'm not going to take up too much of the time because I want him to have a chance to tell us what's happening down in your district. What's going on down there, Representative Yunker?
Let's stay out of county politics.
I heard it's rough.
Yeah, it's rough. No, there's nice things happening in our town. We had Christmas tree lighting here. We've had last weekend we had a parade which was well attended. Down 6th Street. That's the main street, 6th and 7th Street. Oh, yeah. There's lots of family events going on. I don't know about it's going to happen now that the weather's changing and get a little cold and windy, I think, tonight. So that's going to be changing outdoor. But, things are moving along outside of politics. People are still enjoying stuff. It would be nice to have a little bit more growth in Southern, obviously we're both Southern Oregon, but, again, you guys have survived a little bit better in the timber industry than we have. But, when I look at things in Josephine County, we do have a lot of struggles. Obviously, poverty rate, 50% of our people are on Medicaid. We have a 45% poverty rate in Cave Junction. They're on SNAP. So, a lot of the things you see me fighting for, and I recently got into a little battle with your Indian tribes in your Douglas County because of in proportion of benefits going out when we have such a high poverty rate. Actually, Douglas County has some high poverty rates too, and like Dillard and some of the other areas too that are pretty dang high. And but when I look at my area, Cave Junction is actually just the city of Cave Junction is 2,000 people. Well, half of that population's is on Medicaid. On SNAP. And so when you're looking at some of the tribe, I won't even say the tribe, but there are only about 1,000 people in Douglas and Coos County. So we have more people on, just hurting, education too. We're just struggling. The governor doesn't really focus on us at all, really down in Southern Oregon, I think, because we're conservative people. So it is definitely a struggle for our area.
I feel like our state leadership, the majority party, kind of view us as a nuisance. And we're down here. They don't really we don't contribute to their cause, right? We're not environmentalists. We're I guess you call it survivalists in a way. Not that we're crazy, but I mean, I'll just be honest with you. If things went to hell and it came to a situation where, we had a Cascadia event, and I'm pretty sure that the folks down here in Southern Oregon would be able to survive. I mean, of course things would be tight and tough depending on time of year and the season, but I guarantee you in Portland, you got about 3 days before the world comes to an end up there. So it's.
Yeah, their regulations are definitely hurting us between our natural resources. And if it's not just, we focus a lot on logging, but, Josephine County has some of the amazing natural resources in the ground that we can pull out. And there is some small of that, but, even pulling rock out to make roads or houses and stuff like that is a natural resource. And then I know you know a little bit about that, but it's just, that's a money maker. It saves money. But we fight with the environmentalists and the state agencies to get that stuff out of the ground, which would lower the cost of building, maintaining our roads. The environmentalists are just killing us left and right on just poor policies. It's kind of like the spotted owl, and then we find out it's not the spotted owl kind of thing.
We'll kill the barred owl because
it's the barred owl now. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because my dad was in that industry. He's a log truck driver and then retired out of the mill eventually. So it's just, what a great industry. Logs, trees are renewable energy and resource. And when they talk about carbon being stored in a piece of wood, I mean, it's just so much backwards. I'm not a scientist, but I just look at it as common sense of keeping jobs. And I'm sure I don't know what our unemployment rate is in Josephine County right this minute, but I'm sure it's pretty high, just like Douglas County. We have very similar things going on, and we have very rural people that live, out in the woods. They kind of don't want to be left alone, and just work and do, raise their family. And of course, our government it likes to make it rough on them, as possible.
Well, I think that part of the problem is that I just feel like our government has been going down. Let's back up. So whether or not people understand how government works, and that's part of the reason for this podcast, is help explain how, not why, but how government works. Government is a funny thing because there is a lot of money that is involved in behind the scenes money, lobby money, whatever you want to call it. It comes in support of different issues. And frankly, in this state, the unions, SEIU and some of the other ones, support our governor, and they support the Democrat Party. And it helps them get their message out. And that's why things like what we're doing tonight with this podcast is directly in the face of them. Because, I mean, not that we're spending as much money as those guys spend, but we're going to get our message out too. And that is that, we're not driven by money. We're not grifters. We are driven by the people that put us in office. And that doesn't always happen when you get up north. I mean, it's a little bit different. I think up there, they're beholden to the people that keep them in office. And the reality of it is, if any of them ever decide to buck the system and go the wrong direction, they lose their funding. And, make no mistake, politics is money. To get into an office, it costs a lot of money to be able to campaign in a district where you're competing, where it's competitive. It's slightly different in conservative districts like down here. We don't have to spend, we may spend $100,000 on a campaign, which is probably realistic down here. Whereas in, when you get up close to a swing district, I think Japanese campaign spent $750,000, I think, or something along that line. And, it's crazy money.
Right.
But
can we talk about the lobby just for a second? Because I think people, even when I first started being a politician in Salem, there's good lobbying and bad lobbying. All of it's lobby in some way possible. If we're lobbying to try to get, our county commissioner, our city council, or whatever, we're lobbying. And so there's industry lobbying to try to save industry too up there, the business industry and the logging industry. They're not bad bad lobbyists. They're just trying to survive. And so they're trying, or if it's the fishing industry or whatever it is, there is lobbying groups up there. Then you have the ones that are paid from public unions. And that's a whole other world of lobbying, because they're using taxpayer dollars to, make laws and benefit them, where most of the lobbying is just trying to survive the overreach of the government that we have here in Oregon. And that's kind of where I kind of changed my views a little bit. I used to think all lobbyists were bad. And now I'm thinking, well, not all lobbyists are bad. It's some lobbyists need to, because they're trying to save an industry or private schools or whatever it is. And then you have the bad lobbying that's, just trying to kill the rest of us. That's kind of a overreach there, but it is, I feel like that,
Well, you're right, and we also should go deeper and realize that lobbyists are hired for for different businesses or whatever it may be. The timber industry has their own lobbyists. The sheriff and the cops have their own lobbyists, right?
Yeah,
and they're there to try to lobby the legislature to do what's best for for their particular interests, whatever that may be. When you get into a conservative district, especially like ours, I think most of the lobby, in fact, I'd probably go out on a limb and say almost all of the lobby is coming from the labor. People actually work for a living. People, whether it be for the sheriff's department, they have interest in doing the right thing. And you're right. When you get into some of the stuff that happens up north and in more of the blue districts, their interest is to be able to control policy. And controlling policy ultimately helps them to control the narrative of how they exist. And that's just how lobby works. And, nobody's breaking any laws for being a lobbyist unless you're not a registered lobbyist, and you shouldn't be out lobbying, especially if you're doing it on taxpayer money or something along those lines. But so it's kind of a complicated subject, but it does happen. Go ahead, Dwayne.
Yeah, I was just going to say, just this past, time is, a lot of those lobby groups come in to protect like the mobile home industry, or, people live in manufactured parks, which we have some of them. And because up north, they're trying to change the laws and make them so hard on them. And so they're just trying to protect their interests of maybe their livelihood or stuff like that. And, or good things too. I got a bill coming up. It's American Heart Association, just to help things. And those are good lobbyists. And, I'm probably apologizing for my stance a couple years ago that I hated all lobbyists. And now I'm like, nah, there is good lobbyists out there that are trying to protect us, you and I and our constituents from, look at the taxpayer lobby just from the no tax thing. That's a lobby group.
Yep.
So with that referendum, that is a lobby group, for taxes. And so, we should we need to distinguish between the two types of lobbying groups out there. The ones that are trying to protect us and our rights, and the ones that are trying to take our rights away, the way I see it.
Yeah. And the problem is the ones that are trying to take our rights away have more money than the other ones sometimes, and that doesn't work out well.
Yeah.
Hey, we are about 24 minutes in right now. We're going to take a quick 30-second commercial break, and then we're going to read a few commercials for some of our sponsors. So if everybody will stay with us, and this is a good time for everybody, I'm going to take a drink, and this is a good time to get your questions up and like and follow us, and we will be back in 30 seconds. Thank you.
Is your 4x4 ready for the trail? Twin Peaks Off-Road is your first stop for maintenance, repairs, and custom upgrades. From differential services to winch installs, we do it all. Fast, reliable, and built for adventure. Don't wait for breakdowns in the backcountry. Call Twin Peaks Off-Road today at 541-900-0015 or visit twinpeaksoffroad.net. Keep your 4x4 off the roads and in the adventure.
Welcome back, everybody, to On the Verge, your conservative voice of Southern Oregon. And I am your host, Virgil Osborne, state representative from House District 2. We are joined tonight with our state representative from House District, and I should know this, but is it District 3 from Southern Oregon?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. Anyway, and also my co-host, Trent Drake, who's the chair of the County Republican Party. So again, our goal here is to educate people on politics in Oregon and how it works. And, this podcast will only do one thing, and that is we're going to tell the truth to the best of our ability. If something happens, and we have been known to get false information, and we will go back and correct it if necessary, but we tell the truth here. And this is the truth of podcasting. So with that, I want to introduce and do some commercials for some of our sponsors real quick. Our sponsorship is growing. We've added new people and it's open. If anybody would like to join, if you have a business and you want us to advertise for you, we're reaching over 1 million people in 90 days. So it's pretty amazing. This thing has grown way faster than I thought it would. So people are hearing it. So
Yeah, what's that?
I know, right? Anyway, go ahead, Trent, if you want to go first. Who's our newest
All
sponsor?
right, this is our newest sponsor, and it's our friends Bill Hagedorn Construction. Thank you, Bill, for the sponsorship. For all your construction needs, new additions, remodels, decks, fencing, flooring, and tile work, we have you covered. If we can't do it, we'll find someone who can. Check us out on Facebook and see some of our work today. Bill Hagedorn Construction, 541-817-3704.
That's good. I don't know if I can top that, but that was good.
Oh, I was practicing. I'll wait for DBS if he's listening.
All right. So also Becky Home Insurance. Her ad is it's that time of year again. I'm not talking about hunting season. I'm talking about enrollment for Medicare and Marketplace. I think it's still that time of year. I need to ask her that. We may be getting to the end of that. You would know.
Yeah, like a week or so.
Yeah.
I don't do medical.
To find out what Medicare just did to you, give my friend Becky Holm a call. She will take the time to explain your choices and help you come to a decision that's right for you. Plans change, doctors change. The plans they accept or your medication list may have changed. Regardless of the changes, Becky is here to guide you through it. She's licensed in several states and based right here in Roseburg, Oregon. Call Becky Holm, 541-900-6001. And Becky's a good friend of mine, and she's an amazing person when it comes to insurance. I actually call her and ask her stuff myself once in a while because what do I know about insurance, right? But, it's funny because I got her and I got you. You're an agent. So when you answer your phone, if you know I'm calling about insurance, you just know.
I answer you anytime.
I'm just teasing you. Also, we have Andrea Williams is with us, and she is an amazing lady. She does Advocare. In fact, tonight, I will say I am drinking a Sparks energy drink.
I had mine this morning.
Yep. So good stuff, I have to say. And actually, the flavor's good. Yeah. I like it.
It's really good with vodka.
Well, I don't
know.
I don't have any guns either.
Since they invented the funnel.
Let's see. So Andrea says, I know, right? If holiday stress has you running on fumes, coffee just isn't cutting it anymore, and you're starting to wonder if you are on Santa's naughty list. I already know. It might be time for a little spark. Advocare Spark delivers sugar-free, clean energy with a mood boost to brighten your holiday spirit. Andrea Williams has a 20% off promo code plus free gifts for new customers. Visit healthyhabittribe.org, all one word, or find Andrea Williams Advocare distributor on Facebook. Shoot her a message and she'll hook you up. She's an amazing lady, and if you're into that kind of stuff, I just don't know any. That's where I would go. In fact, I need to order.
It's amazing too because every time I reorder, there are free giveaways.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, she gave me some stuff, and I'm like, that's what she did. It's like a drug dealer; they get you hooked up.
Mm-hmm.
That's good stuff. Anyway.
Yeah, you should take it without the water.
Yeah, I haven't got that brave. A couple things. Let's see. Somebody I just saw corrected me on. I think I said Singleton Park. It's Stanton Park.
Yeah,
so
I saw
that was Jackie, I think, that said that. Thank you for correcting me. It is a county park, and thank you. Also, I think that's it for now on those. And we are going to go back to talking about what's happening in Southern Oregon. Actually, we could talk a little bit about the governor's race, although I don't know that I want to come out with any endorsements yet. But everybody always wants to know who I support for governor. And like I told everybody, I don't really get into the race until primaries. Once we have a candidate, because there's a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff going on, and you don't know what's coming next and who's going to say what or who's doing what. Dwayne, how do you feel about it? What's going on with you? Are we kind of sitting it out, waiting to see who finishes in the primary?
Yeah, I believe there's going to be, May will come around and we'll have a primary candidate. I'm going to be afraid it's going to be a rerun of last time, just the way it looks. And if you look at money wise, last time I looked, the top runner on the Republican side had over 800,000, and I think Kotek had almost $2 million raised. So, and again, no other candidates are really matching that. So that's that kind of brings it down to 2 candidates probably at this point. But unless someone stumbles pretty hard at the top, and I don't see anybody taking any strikes at anybody's candidate, you know what I'm saying, Democrat or Republican side.
Yep.
Maybe I'm wrong. Kind of makes for an easy win for somebody. That's what I tell these people that want to be the Republican candidate or the Democrat candidate. Like, you got to win the primary first.
Right. I tell people, I have a lot of people have said, "Hey, why don't you run for governor?" You know, I mean, we all hear it. I think Neil's probably heard it more than anybody, and I get it once in a while. Believe me, I would love to run for governor, and I'm not going to say that there may not come a day where I might. I mean, I have future plans on moving around in politics, but the reality of it is, you're going to have to raise 10 million to get through the primary. That's it, today's dollars, right? You're going to have to raise another 10 to be a competitor in the race. And depending on how the race is going, you might have to raise another 10. And, people hate that. They're like, why is the office? Well, it costs $250,000 to run a television ad on TV for like 3 days. I mean, to hit all of the entire state. It might even be more than that. I don't remember the numbers, but when we were looking at it in 23, I think it was, some of the numbers I heard for the television ads were like, that's absurd. But you got 36 counties you have to hit. So, it's no joke.
It would help if we changed our law. I was in Texas here, and I was talking to their group, and they said that in their state they don't allow any outside money to be used for state elections.
Yeah,
that would be nice. Then you wouldn't have outside sources influencing our campaigns. And if you went to Orstar, you would see those. They're in red. That means they're out of state money coming in. So that would definitely help. In anything, if we didn't have outside money influencing not only the elections, but influencing our laws too.
Yeah, I agree. I know that Phil Knight just recently donated, I think it was $3 million.
Two something, almost
$3 million, and that was going toward Republican. That was Republican dollars. People were pretty excited about that until I found out where the money went. I wasn't so excited, right? I mean,
yep, I know where the money went to. People ask me that, and I'm like, well, it's not going to my campaign.
No, it's not. And frankly, Greg Walden's PAC is who handles that money. And having gone through a few election cycles, and Greg Walden's PAC being in charge of the money that has been given, I don't always agree with where that money goes, and I don't always agree with when it comes out, right? I really had a problem in the last election when we were sitting there, and I think, Dwayne, you were part of the caucus at the time, and I kind of tangled with some of our other members over it, because I'm like, well, we're going to wait to get some kind of donation until the election's already lost, or are we going to actually get in the game while we have a chance? And Greg's PAC was playing games with the money that they had, and they had several $1 million available, and instead of supporting and jumping in the race, they were holding it back and kind of almost holding us ransom for some of it. And I'm not cutting down. I'm sure they had their reasons, and I'm sure there's influences that are happening I have known nothing about. But to me, if we're running a race, and I say we, all of us that are running for office, by God, we're out there to win it. And that's when you need the money, is when you're actually doing the work. And we had a lot of really good candidates doing the work that were not funded. And
I don't think people understand that it's not only our races we're trying to run, is we're trying to help other candidates and our other caucus members win their races too, because our overall goal is to win more seats and to get, bring some power and balance back to the legislature. So it's just not about us ourselves. It's about overall Oregon, changing Oregon.
Yeah. Well, and to that point, I just actually left a message for her. She just texted me back with Seattle Thompson up in Portland. And I'm sure you've heard the name pop up because she's been to some of the fundraisers recently. And Trent, I think, she was on our show, so you have to meet her too. I mean, talk about bucking the system. I mean, she's in a plus 20 something, maybe 24 Democrat district, but she's checking all the boxes, and she's hitting hard. And I hope that people will find, to find it advantageous to donate to her campaign. I know I'm planning on it.
So explain to the people too what that means, plus 24, just to give them a breath of why that's.
Yeah, that's a percentage. So, like for instance, just the opposite in Douglas County, we're in roughly a plus 19, plus 20 point conservative district, which means there's many more votes, actually significantly more votes for the conservative candidate than there are for the I don't know what you call it, the Democrat. So in her district, it's just the opposite because, coming out of Portland. But she's standing on values, and she said it, and she's not wrong. She goes, I quit the Democrat Party when they started doing what they were doing to our kids.
I met her back in like August in Washington County at a Washington County Republican thing. Nice lady, doesn't look like your typical Republican, but her eyes have opened up. She's one of those like the Amy lady that ran, what I'm saying? That's like,
yeah, Amy Reiner.
Amy Reiner, says like, this is not working. This is not who I want me to live in. This is not how Portland should be, the homeless and the drugs and she's down in that area, right down there. And I visited that area up here a couple months ago. And I believe she has a great message of someone that's woken up and said, being a Democrat's not working. What they're standing on is not, it doesn't help everybody. It helps their little, their groups that they want. And she's a black woman saying it's not helping her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, she's a black woman, lesbian woman.
Black woman, lesbian in a major Democratic area. Yeah. And she's trying to work a job, and she has to deal with all this garbage that the Democrats of ruining Portland. What a story of someone that's woken up and said no more.
Yeah.
I love it.
I don't really endorse in the primaries, but she has my full support right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even imagine anybody else that I throw my support behind. And you also mentioned Amy Reiner. Amy's not running this time around, but she ran in the last race. And one thing I really appreciate about Amy was, even though she lost, she's still in the fight.
The no tax thing. Man, that was awesome.
She's out there. She takes no crap from anybody. It's like, and I respect that. Honestly, in this position, and Representative Yunker is the same way. And you were a drill sergeant, I think, in the Marines or something.
I was a drill instructor, yes, in the Marine Corps.
So you just, you don't take crap, right? I mean, you're going to get it because politics, that's what people do, right? I mean, everything is our fault, and that's fine. I mean, some people think it is, and some people think it's not. But at the end of the day, you make the decisions you make, which is best for the people that you represent. And if people don't like it, then sit down and talk to them. I have these crackpots that come. One of the crackpots that comes on my Facebook all the time, and I'm not going to mention a name, but everything I do, he's got a counter to, right? And I said, and I'm not going to mention his name, but I said, no problem. Let's get together and meet. Oh, no, I can't do that. I'm like, well, why not? Well, my health. I'm like, okay, what's wrong with your health? Well, I don't feel comfortable meeting with you. I feel like I'm in danger. I'm like, in danger? Are you kidding me? So you can be a crackpot on Facebook. You can say all these, whatever ridiculousnesses you want to say, but you don't have the guts to tell me, frankly, who you are, because it's one of those bots or whatever. And you don't want to sit down and have a conversation about it. Or for that matter, I mean, I offered a phone call even, but he wouldn't even do that. So, that's not the case when it comes to myself and Yunker. I just responded to a guy that was in, if you saw my Facebook post today, a guy that was in prison, been in jail for 31 years. I think he's in jail
by the way.
Yeah, I think he's in jail for the rest of his life. But, his comment to me, he sent a letter to all of us, all the Republicans and the Democrats. And, basically said, hey, look, I don't agree with the taxpayer money being used for sex change operations, sexual reassignment surgery for inmates. And his letter was pretty detailed. I'm sure he's got plenty of time on his hands to do it. But I responded, and he's in jail. I don't know what he did. I don't want to know, but he's got more common sense than a lot of the Democrats I know in the legislature.
I would say this is, I've done 2 prison visits in the last 3 months. I went to Oregon, what is it, OIC or something, Oregon Correctional Institute in Salem, and then I went to the penitentiary on the last leg days. I was there at the penitentiary, and the penitentiary's got 50 women that are trans there, and the other one's got 20. And if you want to go look at a broken system, is look at our prisons. They're run down. The penitentiary that's there in Salem is over 125 or 30 years. They're just, it's crazy where we spend our money at. And we've done some good things. We had some good things happen this last legislature about education for these guys, but I did see some good things. Let me comment on those.
Yeah.
They're in the prison, both prison systems. These guys are coming out with their, electricians license and plumbers and college. And I was really, it really was great to see some of these, men, because they're men prisons, changing their lives. You know what I'm saying? Some of them are never going to get out of there, but some of them are going to get out of there and have real jobs. That is a plus for Oregon. We do spend some money about trying to change people's lives in our prison system. It's hard to find positives in Oregon, but I think that is one positive area that we invest in a little bit. But the prison itself are very old. Our prisons are so old that they're unsafe at some times. Like the penitentiary just got cameras.
Is that right?
In some of the areas, yes. I mean, and there's this time to explain. If you go you should do a visit of the penitentiary, but there's a system that opens the doors at the penitentiary that is actually from an old prison that got moved over here like 40 years ago. It's so old, it's not electronic. And that's how bad our prisons are. And I almost feel like the Democrats are trying to make excuses not to put people in prison because.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah. I mean, the place to go for medical is like on the third floor, and you have to go up these steps that the elevator is not working. Like, this is how bad some of our prisons are there. There's a lot of great things going on, but there's a lot of unsafe things. And I know that's not what we were going to talk about, but you just kind of hit it's a thing for me is like, it's where the Democrats spend money at. It's amazing to me because, and I'm going to change the subject a little bit here, but if we see what we're getting ready to go through is cutting the budget in Oregon, and the more I dig it, I'm going to ways and means of education, we are spending billions and billions of dollars. And a lot of it's just happened in the last 5 years from COVID dollars.
Yeah.
And it goes back to once you give people money, to peel that back is so hard. It is so hard.
Yeah. Well, that's like when we establish a new tax, that tax is the money ends up wherever it ends up, whether it be in the schools or whatever. And once they're on it, you can't take it back. I mean, you can, but it's very, very difficult to do. I want to say one more thing about the prisons, and I will preface this by saying I've never vetted it out to make sure it's true, but the source that it gave it to me, I'm pretty sure it's accurate. And that is this. This is the hypocrisy of the Democrat Party. They do not want us using natural gas because whatever, it's supposed to kill you or whatever. And they want everything on, electric. In the wintertime, the penitentiary cannot be supplied with enough natural gas to heat the facility. So they use diesel generators to heat the actual penitentiary in the wintertime. And yet the Democrats want to do everything they can to get rid of your diesel. Can you imagine how much pollution comes out of those generators running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? I mean, it's just, we should probably be spending money. We should have spent money on the penitentiary and not on the Capitol building. We should have tore the Capitol down, which is now it's almost done, but we should have tore it down and put up a new building for $100 million instead of $750 million or whatever it is they spent that $700 million over at the penitentiary, make it more livable.
To go with that, we have a prison that was built in the 90s on the coast. It's shut down right now.
Yeah.
You know why that prison shut down? It's politics. It's because they didn't want the money to stay at the coast. They wanted the money to stay in Salem, where they should have shut the Salem prison down. That's 100 and some years old, because the 90s prison is easy to keep up. It's it's built 1990 something. Well, they don't want Coos back. It goes back to politics. They wanted to crush Coos Bay for jobs. That brings jobs in. And so they didn't want to lose those jobs in Salem, but they're okay losing them out in Coos County.
Yeah, it's a crazy cycle. And, and we always try to, we should try to find the good in everything. And Representative Yunker just brought up some really good stuff, which I appreciate that. I have people all the time like, well, what are you going to do to fix this? Well, I'm not going to fix it without your help.
Hey, Virgil, that is like the hardest thing for me to say to constituents is, well, what are you going to do to fix it? I'm like, I am one guy and we are one caucus that is so over, we have a super minority. It is extremely hard to reverse this stuff. And the only way people are going to reverse this is they have to get off their couch. They have to fill out those ballots. They have to vote, and they have to do their part. Electing me to office or you to office does not change the world.
No.
It takes all of us to get up off the couch. I don't care why does the Democrats get people to come to Salem, but Republicans or conservative-minded people barely ever show up there. They have a day of whatever, and they get 3,000 people there, and we might get 30 sometimes.
Yeah.
You cannot rely on myself or you or any other representative to change anything if you're not going to be involved also.
I always come back with, well, it's because we were working. We had jobs that day.
I get that, but then we get screwed over. We get,
Yeah. No, you're not wrong, and that's the problem. I mean, we are outnumbered in the state, obviously, but the independents and the non-affiliated voters could make up that difference. But we have to get people to get engaged, and that's I preach it everywhere. Now, are your voices being heard in Salem? Damn right. They get heard from me. I know they get heard from Representative Yunker, almost to the point of nauseum. Sometimes I will battle it out in committees with people. And, of course, I'm on the leadership team. So is Representative Scarlato's. I mean, yes, the voices from this district, but we're one district and one person, one district. We live in a representative republic. So that's how this thing works. We have to get more districts. We have to win swing seats, and we have to actually, when people donate to our, campaigns, we spend what we need to win our office back. And then and I know at least I do, and I'm sure you do too. We try to spend that on other campaigns that maybe help win swing seats, or people that, for instance, we're going to have a heck of a fight, I think, with Lively's district up in Blaine County. I think that's a winnable district, and we're going to need to spend some money there. And amazingly, if we could win that seat, that would be a very well-held seat. Now, there are other moderate Democrats like Senator Broadman. I just had a conversation with him this afternoon, and he's working on some stuff that actually makes sense. But it's the crazies, it's the Brzezinskis of the world that want to take all your guns because somehow gun bad. Guns kill people. Like, people don't, the guns do. But
Right.
When they have knives,
we got to be bold. People need to be bold, especially people like ourselves that are in really conservative areas. Got to be bold and speak up. And I think that's been changing since I've been there. And I know I'm not going to say it's me, but I'm not going to stop saying the hard things. I've already been taken off of 2 committees and moved because people don't like, I'm going to say those hard things. I'm not going to give people a pass up there. And I hope people realize that. Like, when I come into some place, people were kind of fearful of me of what I'm going to say or what and it's not because I want to be rude. It's because I want the world to hear what they're doing. And I've heard you many times is like, say these things is like, this is wrong. This is not right. You're standing up for Oregonians. You're standing up for people in Douglas County. I'm standing up for people in Josephine County, in Southern Oregon that want a voice. And I don't care what you call me. I'm not homophobic. I'm not racist. I'm just going to call it. If I think you're discriminating against another group because you're getting more, then that's what I'm going to say, because I look at everything as equal. If it's not equal, then it's discrimination to me. And I just hope that more candidates and more people see that we have to fight. It's like, I think today's the day that the Boston Tea Party started or something. I think this today or yesterday or something. It's, we have to have voices, and we got to stick together too, because we're not going to always agree. I'm really, I get uptight. Me, I'm like,
I do.
But we should try to win against Democrats instead of trying to take out each other as Republicans. We're not always going to agree. It's like having a marriage. Tell me anybody that's ever been 100% gets along with their spouse on every single topic. But sometimes you just have to, like, you know what? It's not worth the battle for this one. We're a team, and let it go. And that's hard for me sometimes. I'll tell you, it's hard. And I've had these conversations, but the overall goal is to turn Oregon red. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny. When Representative Yunker and I, we sit next to each other on the House floor. So when we're actually in session, the Democrats don't like it. And actually, Representative Scarlato sits on the other side of me. So when that part of the room starts talking, they pay attention. Some of them get up and leave because they don't want to hear the message. But the ones that they don't know what's coming, and I kind of like that, actually. You're the hardcore guy. I'm the guy that kind of like, I'm the whip, so I kind of I defend you. I'll be up at the front, making sure that you're still there. And then Alec, he's amazing. Some of the things he says, it's like,
He's more funny. He's got more of a sarcastic.
He does, but he's not afraid to say whatever. And I mean, and that's what we have to do. You're right, but we also got to work together. And I think that's happening, with especially with the OFC, Oregon Freedom Coalition too. I mean, all of us are pretty doggone conservative. And, frankly, when I say I'm conservative, that means I'm representing the people here, right? That doesn't mean I hate Democrats. I mean, I don't hate anybody in my district, even the ones that hate me, and believe me, I get called a racist. That's how stupid it is, right? I'm the farthest thing from a racist, but it's like, whatever. I got a job to do. So call me whatever you want, and I'll still do my job.
You're racist because you're half black.
Yeah. I do want to make just reference to a question here. Tony Hull just asked, this is off topic, but can someone explain why Oregon DMV is headquartered in San Francisco? It is not. I don't know who told you that, but that is not the case. And if it is, then it's something that just happened that I'm not aware of. But Oregon DMV, you can go to Salem. You can go to DMV in Salem.
The main office is DMV is in Salem.
Yeah.
Their call center's in Salem. I'm not going to tell you where their call center's at. You'll probably freak out. But but it is in Salem. And if you get a man answering your phone at the call center, just say he's being watched.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. There's probably a few other questions. We're getting close to time here, but I wanted to really quick just run across. Actually, I haven't really let Trent have a chance to say anything. Did you have anything you want to?
Well, I wanted to kind of chime in with what you guys were talking about, and my stance on, hey, get out the vote. Douglas County's vote last May was terrible. 13% of the entire county, 166,000 people, only 13% voted.
Yeah.
And we should feel ashamed about that. But the tide is changing with the referendum that we now have, and with what Representative Deal, Senator Starr has done. Just those signatures, because they're not all Republicans.
No.
But if you took those signatures as the difference in the vote, we'd have won the governorship. We'd have won several of the House seats. We'd have won several of the Senate seats. And, people, if you're listening out there, be positive, think we can do this.
Yeah.
I mean, I pick up the phone every day and call somebody and talk to them about getting out the vote.
Yeah.
And I've talked with a congressional candidate today about helping them get out their vote.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
I do too. And you've done amazing things since you've been the chair of the Republican Party, because even our local party is all over the board, but, bringing them in as a team, it makes a difference.
It does.
Yeah. Financially, you guys have done better than they've ever done.
Yes. And that's just going to help you guys.
Yeah. I mean, fundraisers the attendance has been up. I mean, it's been a win all across the board. I wanted to just ask real quick, Representative Yunker, if you have any bills you want to talk about that you're planning on running.
Yeah, I mean, because it's a short session. I have 2 fixed bills. One of my bills has to do fixing the watercraft bill we just passed for. So if you got a wakeboard or something like that, I'm trying to change that permitting system. That was not the intention of that was not what we thought we were voting on.
Mhm.
And so I have a fixed bill for that, and I have another fixed bill for the American Heart Association with the defibrillator that goes into the schools. There's one. It's a very similar bill that was passed last year, out of committee, but it had money, and mine has no money. I've been working with them from a kid at my high school, Grants Pass High School, that's had heart problems, and we're looking to make sure that every device that's in the schools is maintained properly. There's some things that are wrong with the original bill that passed many years ago, and to make sure that they're in the right locations. And we just want to fix some of the wording in that. So I'm just working with those two things to make it better for Oregonians. And others are just, fixer bills. That's what really we should be doing in a short session, is fixing things.
Yes.
And fixing the budget. Some of these other things are for long sessions. So that's where I'm at.
I think that short session, the full intention of short session was to fix the budget and any other bills that need to be fixed. And this is something, if you watch any of, not you particularly, Representative Yunker, but people who watched what I post on, Facebook, whatever, I always warn when we're about to pass something stupid that beware of the unintended consequences. And it always comes back after they pass a stupid bill 2, 3, 4 years later. We have all these unintended consequences, and they won't go back and fix them. And it's like, they're it's like they're terrified. It's like, well, okay, you're screwing the Oregonian public over because you won't fix a bad bill. And the one that comes to mind was the fire mapping, right? I mean, that was a horrible, and it needed to be fixed. Thank God. Well, actually, it didn't make it to the House floor, and I let everybody on committee know. And I wasn't the most favored person there when I walked out of that room, but I held everybody on that committee responsible for the reason it didn't make it to the floor. Eventually it did. Ironically, one of the Democrats pushed it to the floor because they knew it was so bad, but they were holding the bill hostage over funding. Right? It's like, who cares about funding? It was a bad bill.
Yeah, my bills are not Republican bills. They're fixing everyday life for Oregonians. It's just not Republicans that go down to your rivers or your lakes and have fun. It's Oregonians. And here we are, we're going to make them pay fines for a bill that was only supposed to be for mussels, for watercraft with a hole in it. It's very stupid. And so these unintended consequences, and actually the problem with that bill is not because of us, it's because of the bureaucracy of agencies. Yes. That's another problem we have. And that could be a whole nother topic of discussion on the verge is bureaucrats.
You know what? I'm going to remember that. We definitely need to bring it back. Real quick, a couple bills I'm working on. I am working on a bill that actually kind of demands law enforcement map schools so that they actually have a real live map. So if they have a crisis, a shooter or something like that, they don't need to, because frankly, who would have thought, right? Does our sheriff's department or our city police know exactly the layout of Roseburg High? Hell, I go there and I can't find my way around. And if they actually have a map and they can actually say, okay, building C is where this guy's at, they can sit there and plan the attack or whatever needs to be done, those kind of things. So it's, much to my surprise, that was something that the Democrats didn't want. And I'm still not exactly sure, because we haven't really debated it, but I'm still not exactly sure why. I think it's maybe a control issue. I don't know. But so we're working on that. Also today I spoke with Senator Broadman. This is an interesting bill. The 10th Circuit Court actually upheld a ruling on corner crossings, right? So this is probably going to be of big interest to Douglas County as well. And corner crossings means this: if it's 2 corners or 4 corners, whatever it is, of property, to get to public lands, you have to cross that corner of private land. And so Senator Broadman and actually Senator McClain is running the bill. Senator Broadman's supporting it. Senator Broadman's Democrat, McClain is a Republican, and then they want me involved in it as well, to make it where it's legal to cross that corner, but not necessarily driving. I mean, when you're in the air, when you take that step or that ladder, whatever it is to get across that corner from BLM lands to BLM lands, but you're crossing Weyerhaeuser and Lone Rock or whatever, you can't do it right now. They want to make it legal to do that, but it also indemnifies the private landholders from any kind of responsibility of you hurting yourself or whatever it may
You
be.
have a right of easement, and you can't landlock property in Oregon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's in the works. I don't know where that's going to go. I today brought up the point that I think I have a problem with it. If I'm a landowner, I kind of don't like it. But as also an outdoor recreationist, I kind of do like it. I would like to see it because it's going to be a handicap issue. A wheelchair can't fly through the air. They can't take that step. I would like to see it as a corridor, maybe at 60 inches or whatever, so that you could actually use it for motorized access too. But we'll see where that goes. So that's going to be something. Hopefully we can at least get to committee and debate. So with that, we're running a little over now. So we passed up our hour. We'd like to keep everything to an hour because we are rebroadcast on the radio, but we've got some time. Trent, you want to close with anything?
No, thanks for the great information, what you guys are doing, man. This last 90 days in the Republican Party in Oregon has been the most exciting thing I've ever seen.
It's been pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just remember, you guys, we know almost everybody that's watching tonight, 38 years remember that, just 38 years.
Of Democrats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why Oregon is one of the worst in education, one of the highest gas prices, one of the highest places to live tax-wise.
Yeah. There's so much more. We could talk for 2 hours easy. Representative Yunker, would you like to close with anything?
No, I just thank you for having me on. Hopefully you'll invite me back, and thank you for everybody that's watching. And, at the end of the day, we're just trying to do our best. We're human beings, just like everybody else. And, I'm going to keep fighting every day, no matter what, until the people don't want me there.
Absolutely.
Right on.
Representative Yunker, you are an inspiration to all of us. I will stand beside you and fight any day. And I will continue to do that. With that,
I'm getting a shirt made for him.
For him?
Yeah, it says, "Don't be a clown."
Oh, geez. That goes back to a
I'm gonna
story.
wear it.
That goes back to a story on the House floor where I heard Representative Yunker call the Democrats clowns on the House floor multiple times, and somehow managed to get through it without getting kicked off the floor. So it was, you
gotta learn. Those are skills. Those are skills, Virgil. You gotta learn those skill set.
Yeah, it was fitting for the situation. I will tell you that. Thank you all, everybody who's following us and watching us, for joining us. It's a pleasure to bring this conservative podcast to everybody in Oregon. Please like and follow us. We're on 13 or so different forms of podcasts, so you can find us on Amazon Music, Apple Music. Who else? I don't know. Anyway, we're all over the place. Plus, we're on YouTube and we're on Facebook as well. And the more people that watch us, the more people that like and follow us, the more we'll continue to do this. And Representative Yunker, you have a standing invitation. Anytime you want to come on the show, all you got to do is text me and let me know. Even if you just want to make a 5-minute appearance to talk about something, we're happy to have you. You are definitely part of what we call our conservative family. So, with that said, thank you all for joining me, and thank you all for following us. Like and follow us. Feel free to ask questions online still, comment, and we will get back to you on our next show. And until then, we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is your 4x4 ready for the trail? Twin Peaks Off-Road is your first stop for maintenance, repairs, and custom upgrades. From differential services to winch installs, we do it all. Fast, reliable, and built for adventure. Don't wait for breakdowns in the backcountry. Call Twin Peaks Off-Road today at 541-900-0015 or visit twinpeaksoffroad.net. Keep your 4x4 off the roads and in the adventure.